Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Roadrunners Unfiltered. It's your host, Darrien Starling. This will be a relatively quick one, which is why I decided to not go live today. We talked to April yesterday, and there was so much that she educated me on and kind of shared about the NIL process. I wanted to give my thoughts about that. I didn't really get an opportunity to do that because I felt like it was more important yesterday to kind of get as much information as possible, and I can weigh in on some of these things as we go on further shows, which is I'm going to do today. But I also want to talk about this Texas State situation, which is insane, and I think this is one of the negative parts about the NIL combined with the transfer portal situation. It is a problem. I'm also going to share some things. I've been talking to a lot of folks over the last week and a half that's close to the UTSA NIL just situation. And I'm working on a couple of things too that a couple of folks that I'm trying to get on. I have I got a message back from Frank Harris, which I think is good. He has shown some interest in coming on. It's just going to be about a scheduling thing. I think you guys will like that, and I know part of that discussion will be NIL discussion, but I also dive into some stuff if we get that opportunity about his playing career as well. There's a lot I want to share on that front, and I also want to share some new things that will be coming into the channel once I hit some milestones that I am very, very close to. So stick around for all of that stuff. Like I said, I'm going to be relatively short today. I'm only going to go for about 10 minutes or so. Make sure you watch the entire time because every piece of information is going to be important. So anyway, I want to start with the previous show. And guys, if you have not seen it, I'm going to find a way to put this on the screen or something like that for you guys to click it. I would advise you guys, if you haven't had a chance, to go look at my discussion with April Ancira yesterday. I did that show live. We did go through some comments and questions and things like that from the folks who were there live that April was open enough to answer. And there was a couple of things to me that I just completely didn't know and I was kind of blown away about. And I wanted to sort of weigh in on those right now and give you guys some of my thoughts on some of this stuff. And, you know, we can open it up for discourse on the next live. But one of the things that was crazy to me was the fact that coaches are now able to broker deals themselves. That to me is insane. So that means that Coach Traylor can personally, out of his own pocket, right, contribute money to, broker NIL deals with his own players. That's insane to me. That is insane to me. And the way I look at that is it's probably, and I don't know how he's going to do it. I don't know where he decides to allocate the money, but I would assume that he's probably allocating the money to players who really need it. He's allocating it to players who are in a tough spot and, come to them for help in these situations. But the fact that a player the fact that a coach can directly broker some of these deals, according to April, with players is actually insane to me. I'd be very curious to know how it works. If anybody who is a reporter or some of this stuff, if you guys are really close to the program, it'd be good to get some details on what that looks like. Maybe even try to do some investigation stuff on some other schools who are, doing that at a higher level, right, with coaches with deeper pockets, right? So that to me was really, really crazy. And, yeah, that was interesting. I also thought another thing was interesting, too, is, I've been talking to various people, as I said before, but I think April kind of summed it up. It's the Wild Wild West right now. She talked about it kind of being loose, and there's questions about the rules and what the rules mean and how do you interpret this, how do you interpret that. It lets me know that it is more of a Wild Wild West than I think even some of us can imagine. That's kind of what I took out. That's kind of what I took out of it. She talked about, schools breaking rules and reaching out to some of our guys earlier than when they should be. And she talked about being very compliant and making sure that they follow the rules. They don't, get sort of out of bounds. And I think that she has a healthy bit of, she's showing good morals, in my opinion, saying like, hey, I just don't want to just, give these guys money so they can drive Ferraris around. She really likes the aspect of helping the players, who are in tough positions and things like that. Obviously, just being in this sort of business, you're going to have that, situations where guys can go flex and things like that. But I think that, and she expressed some hesitation about that. Not even hesitation, but like, that side of it doesn't make me feel great. But what does make me feel great is XYZ. What I think was crazy about it is, man, like, I'm sure these schools with deeper pockets that know that they can bully schools like UTSA are just doing whatever and promising whatever. And that to me is insane. And what I thought was interesting that she pointed out is like they can make all the promises they want until a contract is signed when someone's enrolled into that school. Nothing matters. Nothing matters. And to me, it goes back to what we talked about with your Trey Moores and your Cam Alexanders. Yeah, you're probably going to get promised this. Even Zachary Franklin, you're probably going to get promised this, right? And I'm sure that on some of those promises they'll deliver. But everybody at that particular point in time has to hold up their end of the bargain, whether that's the players holding up their end of the bargain on the contract, whether that's the player holding up their end of the bargain on the field, whether that's the NIL collective doing what they need to do and prioritizing that particular player who transferred there to make sure that they get their money. There is a lot of commitment that goes on. And what I took out of what April was telling us is, if that contract ain't signed, I don't care about what money they promised you. You got to have a signed contract in order to be able to cash in on that. And that to me is huge. And I wonder how many kids are going to get burnt throughout this process because colleges are making these weird promises to these guys. How many kids is it going to take for them to get burnt before they have to do something about that? Or before those promises don't hit as big as they did. You know what I mean? And she told us straight up how we get around that discussion. They're not involved, but, they'll tell some of the players that are on campus that, hey, whenever these guys come and visit, you share your experience of how things are going on. And there's ways around every rule and things like that. So anyway, I just thought that it was huge. Just huge hearing some of the background behind that stuff is crazy. And I can tell you this, and this is just from me, this is coming from nobody in particular. And I think April did a good job yesterday of kind of staying out of this situation. But I think that whenever you look at Lisa Campos, I think that I think it's fairly clear that she is dragging her feet to get on board with NIL and what it actually means. And to me, I think that can be problematic. And I said this before. I said this a couple weeks ago when JJ was on. What did I say to everybody? I said, you know what? Before UTSA starts to take that next level, to take that next step to the next level, we're going to have a change in AD. And this is not me, going – this is mostly separate from the April conversation, but this is me sort of reading between the lines as she worked her way through her words, and she talked about adaptability, and she talked about, everybody's not as, so it's going to take time for folks to get in a situation where they understand the NIL and the benefits, and it's a controversial topic. There's a lot of folks who don't. Just think about Nick Saban. He hated it, right? So, obviously there's going to be athletic directors that don't like it, and I think that's fair for them not to. But I do think it's the new environment that we're working in, and if you want better for the program, you got to roll up your sleeves and you got to take your personal feelings out of this, and you got to roll up your sleeves and put in a shift. And I think that it puts more pressure also on the AD and those folks to fundraise, right? Because now, where you going? Now, like the donors are not just going to like donate to the general fund as much, right? Donors are now going to want to say, "Hey, I want to donate to the NIL Collective so I can ensure that this money, right, is going to the players," which makes a lot of sense. So that makes the AD's job harder. I completely understand that situation, but what I think is going to eventually have to happen is we're probably going to have to get someone who is more forward with some of the practices that are going on, because right now the NIL situation is so weird. It's the wild, wild west. I don't know if there's even penalty or there's even a good way to measure what's happening to penalize folks. It's just a wild, wild west. So if we want to be a great athletic program that's going to bring in a lot of money, yeah, we're probably going to have to not be as by the book as it seems like we are. And this is not me criticizing. Listen, I like that we aren't, right? I like that April said, hey, we do things right here. Coach Traylor does things right here. 210 Inspired does things right here. All, City Inspired and all those guys, we all do things right at UTSA. I think that's great. And I'm not saying that we should start doing things out of compliance, but if there's some bendings of the rules that we can do to create some advantages, I think we should be on board. And I think having a AD that is for that will certainly help that cause 100%. Like I said, this has nothing to do with my thoughts on this has really nothing to do with what April says. This is a lot of what I've been seeing already. We have been talking about this already. Like I said, JJ and I talked about this a couple weeks ago. I just felt like just, her being cautious about that, about how she worded some of those answers around that. I just think to me that says enough. And some of this, obviously this is me speculating, but it is what it is. But quickly, and I know I'm over the 10 minutes that I said I was going to be on, Texas State, that situation is crazy. If you have not seen their quarterback, his name is Jadon Delora. Guys, and I'll give the Texas State person a shout out here. If you haven't read the story, the sexual assault story on this guy that went to civil court, it is insane. I don't know how and why Texas State signed this guy in the first place. What are you doing? What are you doing? When you look at the details, and I don't want to share those details on this channel, but I would advise everyone to take some time, go read the details of that case, and we can talk about it in more detail next episode. Jesus. Yeah, Texas State, you have a great situation going for you with TJ Finley. You go get that guy. You lose TJ Finley to, I think, Western Kentucky. Now you're out of a quarterback because now he's not playing for you. I don't know why they even went for that guy in the first place. Listen, this is going to be and there's a Texas State dude that comes into watches all the videos here, and he always trolls me. What are you going to say now, bro? That is poor management by your organization. What are you going to say now? That's literally piss poor. There's no better way to say it. Last thing, couple of updates on the channel. And I really need you guys' help here, and I need you guys' participation. It'll be huge to get your thoughts and how you guys feel about this. But here are a couple things. So number one, when I want to have more people on, I think people who are important and close to the program, I think it is relevant to have them on because I want to give you guys an opportunity to ask questions, so on and so forth. So I'll need you guys to be participating live for us to do that. But I plan on having a lot of important people around the program on the podcast as much as possible. So if you guys like those type of things, please let me know in the comments so I can continue to reach out to folks and get folks on the show. If you have specific people that you want to be on the show, I have no problem with reaching out to them. I don't know if they'll be interested. We'll see. But if you do have specific people that you think that it'll be beneficial to the audience to have on the show, please let me know. I will reach out to them and do my best to have them on. Like I said, this show is ran by you guys, your comments. I love the live show. I think the live format is great, and that's what we'll do going forward. And I will do some of these ad hoc shows as well. But please let me know what you guys think about those. If you have any thoughts or have any recommendations, let me know. And also tell me, hey, do you like having guests or not? If you like just a regular solo talk, I can carve out time for that. Also, let me know is when I do have a guest for a week, do you want to have sort of a shorter version of the live chat, maybe the day or two after that guest came on, and sort of talk through that stuff as well? Because when the guest comes on, I don't go down every single comment like I typically do. I just go around and kind of moderate through some of those questions and ask what I think is most important and more, most important to the conversation that I'm having with whatever guest is on. So please give me your thoughts on that. Also, there are some important milestones that I am getting very, very close to. So I would appreciate it if you guys continue to like the video, continue to share this stuff with your friends, your family, anybody who you think that would benefit from some UTSA content. It will be super huge. But memberships are going to be coming soon to the show. I am super excited about that because I'm going to have some extra stuff going on for that. We're going to be doing a lot of giveaways and things like that for you guys to make a little money while you're watching and that sort of thing. But I really want to make the live chat as great of an experience for you guys as possible. But I need you guys' participation and your feedback to be able to craft something that is beneficial to you all. So if you guys could fill up the comment section with some of your thoughts on all of this, I think that will be huge. And I appreciate all of the support, the likes, all the stuff on Twitter. It is huge for me, and you guys don't know how much I appreciate that stuff. And yeah, so like I said, a relatively short one today. I know I went over my 10 minutes by a little bit, but I did want to sort of talk about some of the things that's happened over the last couple of days that I didn't get to share while April was on. So with that being said, make sure you guys, if you're new here, smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. That helps the channel. It helps us build the reach and build the community here. That's what we are all about. So I will see you guys next week. We are going to have Javi Cardenas on. He is the guy from Rivals, UTSA Rivals. He has a ton of followers on Twitter. He reports and drops a lot of the big news and breaking news stuff. So yeah, he's going to come on next week and we're going to have a conversation as well. I'm still working on some other stuff that I think you guys will like. So be sure to stay tuned for that. And I appreciate everybody. Peace.